Good morning, everyone. My name is Doug Scholz-Carlson. I am the artistic director of the Great River Shakespeare Festival. And on behalf of Heidi Bryant and Joanna Ruprecht, our poet laureates, it is my honor to welcome you to the 2025 Celebrate the Sonnet event. Welcome. So this morning, this is the official end to the 2025 version of the Maria W. Faust Sonnet Contest. Today, we're going to recognize the winners of the event, and we'll get to hear all of the sonnets. We'll have about 14 of the winners. We'll read their sonnets. The rest of them, I will read, and my colleague Melissa Maxwell, who is co-associate artistic director of the Great River Shakespeare Festival, will read the rest of them. This contest, it started as a local contest when Winona first named a poet laureate. Jim Armstrong had the idea that because we have a Shakespeare festival and we have a poet laureate, we should have a sonnet contest. It's been a collaboration with Great River for the first few years and then grown into its own thing. Now it is an international phenomenon. It reaches far beyond our community. The 2025 contest received entries from 18 countries and 41 states. There were over 730 sonnets submitted by 281 individuals, including 92 in the youth category. Today, we are recognizing the winners of the contest. So we're giving prizes totaling $3,200, and we're awarding in the categories of the top 4 sonnets, 4 regional sonnets, 4 youth sonnets, and then the laureate's choices, 16 sonnets that fit into that category. The Maria W. Faust Sonnet Contest is an annual event that welcomes entries from around the world to Winona. Contest honors the memory of Maria W. Faust, a Winona State University graduate in communications, a 20-year resident of Winona, and an avid supporter of varied local arts and a lover of poetry. Ted Holland, who passed away in 2024, endowed the contest so that it can live on, with the goal of keeping Maria's love of poetry alive in our community and beyond. Before we start, I want to say thank you to a bunch of people who make this possible. First of all, our contest judges, Winona's poet laureate James Armstrong, Ken McCullough, and Emilio DeGrazia, and Leslie Schultz of Northfield. Heidi Bryant, the managing director, and Joanna Ruprecht, to keep everything running through the year and organized. The River Arts Alliance, who serves as fiscal sponsor. Connie McKellen, Jackie Bedka, and the Winona County History Center for hosting us this morning. The Blue Heron Coffee House for our music that you heard just this moment. Heidi Bryant, Dr. Rachel Haug, and Dr. Meredith Meem, the musicians. And then, of course, our all-around roadie and moral supports, Ned Bryant. Thank you all for making this possible. Oh, yes, yeah. Before we start, I just want to say, there are so many different reasons why we create art in the world. One of them that is particularly meaningful to me, and especially right now, I guess, is just that we are so alone in the universe, that we live in our own experience. We know for ourselves what it is to love. We know what it is to feel rage. We know what it is to feel disconnect. We know what it is to feel community. But how do we know that anybody else feels that same thing? We can have people describe it to us, but we don't know. We use the words. Art is one of the ways that transcends. It goes beyond our intellect. It goes beyond our emotions. It goes beyond what we are feeling spiritually. And in a work of art, sometimes we catch a glimpse of another human being. And when we catch that glimpse and we recognize something in ourselves, then we know that we are not alone in the universe. And I think, especially in times like these where our community feels fractured, being able to engage with the work of art is particularly meaningful and particularly important. I don't know of another art form that is better at capturing an individual moment of experience than the sonnet, because it really is, in its very tight structure, it captures one moment in the life of another human being. And in terms of being able to understand that we are not alone in the universe, whether we identify with that person's entire experience, we may very well find that, oh yes, I have had one moment in my life where I felt exactly that. So I would invite you this morning, as you're listening, you're going to listen to 20 or 30 sonnets this morning, to simply take that in. Simply take the opportunity to listen to someone else's experience and take it on board and see if there is something in it that you recognize as human and you recognize as a fellow human being. The fact that we are doing that together in the room allows us to build community. You will also have the experience of hearing a sonnet where you don't recognize that experience, but know that that is another human being's experience of the world in that particular moment. And that can help us build empathy, which also brings us together in community. I've been part of this event for many, many years, and I always love just that experience over and over and over again, that exercise in understanding that we are all human. So with that, let me start with one unofficial sonnet, which the laureates chose and thought we should begin our contest with. This is written by Paula Egan Wright from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and it is an ode to the Maria W. Faust Sonnet Contest. In Winona's heart, a river flows. There, too, flow words. There, sonnets take their flight. Maria's spirit to each line bestows an energy that dances through the night. From far and near, poetic voices rise. From 14 lines, a living thing is brought. In iam's rhyme, truth and beauty lies, the innate sound of English, Shakespeare thought. With every verse, foggy thoughts come clear. Each line a sketch that bears a human trace. In sonnet's form, untold truths appear, a fleeting glimpse of life's eternal grace. Elevate the sonnet and her name. Hold high Maria's torch, the sonnet's flame. And with that, I will invite my colleague Melissa Maxwell up to read our first sonnet.
Good morning. This is in the top 4 category. It is The Leveret by Cindy Hill from Middlebury, Vermont. The world is new inside a round brown eye, holding red clover up against clear sky. Though white blooms are sweeter low to the ground, tidy, tender trefoils in a soft mound. The world is young when bumblebees, laden to their bent knees with sticky gold pollen, map out the green meadows in humming song, and nights are short and bright and days so long. Then blossoms pass and daylight loses length. Grain fields turn gold as sugars spinned to starch. Gold needles replace green on the dark larch, and hunger in sharp shadows builds its strength. The world is old. The leveret burrows deep below the cold, inside the roots of sleep.
All right. Our next entry is from Claude Clayton Smith in Madison, Wisconsin, and is entitled Butterflies. And there is actually a note to the actor on this one that I found especially useful. So I'm going to read it to you. We wouldn't usually read the note, but I found this especially useful. So I'm going to read it to you before I read the sonnet. It said, "Please forward this info to the actor who will no doubt render butterflies more intently than I hear it in my head." I don't know why you would think a Shakespearean actor would be overwrought in that. "Tell him or her that I recall seeing thousands of monarch butterflies, not in Paris, but in Red Wing on their way to Mexico, a journey that is increasingly threatened like the Native Americans once were in Quarter Acre of Heartache." So this is Butterflies. Butterflies in Paris make weather here, so chaos theory says, since sensitive conditions dictate systems linear. Minor perturbations are a sieve for metaphor, as changing states affect emotions everywhere. But don't blame me for scientific ways that interject a pause in human scenes. Just let it be. Edward Norton Lorenz and Poincaré wrote the book on such esoteric stuff, enlarging thought on how the cosmos works while challenging the mediocre fluff that passed for light but drowned in certain quirks. Which means we're left to make today our own, in sun or clouds or words close to the bone.
This is Unboxed Identity from the youth category, written by Samantha Bernard of West Covina, California. A form pops up, its boxes neat and wide, each label clean, as if the world is too. Select your race. I hesitate, then hide. No box reads both, no line says all of me. A drop-down line decides what I must lose. Pick one, it says, as if I must erase a parent, tongue, or story from my skin to fit inside a frame they've drawn this way. Between two histories, I hover still, my parents' flags, both stitched inside my chest. A single form decides which one gets shame and which, I'm told, deserves to be expressed. Submit a word that stings behind the screen, as if my truth's a secret to demean.
And this next sonnet, this is one of the laureate's choices. This is by Shamak Banerjee from Guwahati, Assam, India. A watchman. His tangled walrus stash goodnights the last employee. Geared with just a torch and cosh, he now patrols the boundary. 11:30, crickets prating. With panache, the moon stares down through snail-paced troops of clouds. That polyester cap, blue uniform emblazoned with a badge of which he's proud. A thermos storing tea to keep him warm. And Max, his Labrador, who's ever quick to lift his eyelids when they start to dip. 5 rounds are done. The darkness grows thick. Slumping, he fills a cup, slow draws a sip, and gazes at the clock that's carrying on its work. The hour hand still far from dawn.
This is In Realms of Memory Where Shadows Play. It is by Kaliana Jackson from Columbus, Mississippi. It is a laureate's choice. In realms of memory where shadows play, a gentle longing stirs within the soul for days gone by, now distant and astray, a bittersweet, melancholic toll. The scent of rain on sun-baked earth so sweet, a childhood laughter echoing in the breeze, old photographs, a cherished fond retreat, whispering tales among the rustling trees. The heart aches for what time cannot restore, a yearning for the past that used to be a tapestry of moments to adore, woven with threads of love and reverie. Yet in this bittersweet embrace, we find a solace for the soul we leave behind.
This next one is another one of our laureates' choices. This is by Erica Reed of Fort Collins, Colorado. It is entitled Barriers for Light, and it is inscribed for visual artist Jason Lord. Jason Lord, I looked this up. Jason Lord has a website available, and I'd really encourage you to go on and look at the beautiful artwork, or at least it gives you a sense of what that art is and makes a little more sense of this sonnet, or another level of sense to this sonnet. So, Barriers for Light. The first light crests the glass. He marks a line in pencil, covers over it in tape. He's here to study daylight's shifting shape and puzzle over natural design. His studio's a web of tape and light. The artist sets a trap for tricky prey. He'd like his lines to captivate the day, to catch it where it rests and hold it tight. He will not see the truth until too late, that as he adds his lines, the walls grow black, and what began as stealing hours back will end up luring night with the same bait. Another dawn, another thick black mark. The artist draws himself into the dark.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Fleming. I live in Brattleboro, Vermont. I'm from Wyoming, but Both of my parents came from St. Cloud, Minnesota, so I speak fluent Minnesotan. But I'll read my poem in English. It's called Purgatory. Cell by cell, each of the guys on the block has a story like mine. How life was good and then it wasn't. Some of them won't talk about it, and some of the others would deceive themselves into thinking I cared. It's always too cold in here or too hot. I hate that smell when everybody's scared, pretending not to be here at all. This hell that I call purgatory, as though I'm being cleansed of what I did and who I was and all that I still am. And getting out depends on nothing I can understand. I pace around the yard. I hate this goddamn place.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Yan Zhang, and I'm joining from Hangzhou, China. I'm incredibly honored to be one of the recipients of this year's Youth Prize, and I'm so excited to share my sonnet with you. It's entitled Ars Poetica. Ars Poetica. I gasp for air on this familiar street. My mind now clear, no longer lost in haze. You come. And concrete grids and dumpsters meet domestic sense and industrial malaise. Rotten mist blooms where steel pipes are laid, as stir-fry oil drifts from windowsills. I blink. A man drags hose. A girl's displayed in bike mirror. Their shadows touch the grills. Your presence frays the edges of the day. I cannot turn. You fog my neck, then drift away when streets grow still. I will not say to anyone this gift you came to lift. This is the poem, the storm cloud, not the thought, the meaning caught in lines the silence wrought. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Jean Creeling, and I live in Plymouth, Massachusetts. I'm honored that my sonnet is one of the top 4. It's called At the Oceanfront Hotel. This top floor balcony could be the prow of some grand ship just launched into the sea. Blue water rolling in beneath me now at high tide. And it's this proximity that draws me here, the air suffused with salt, the constant comfort of the ocean's song. But does my greed for this mean I'm at fault? As high tides reach still higher and the long view shortens? Years before we recognized the cost beyond mere dollars, those who built this coastal refuge may have jeopardized the equipoise of land and sea. That guilt is not quite mine, but I've heard breakers hint that no one on this ship is innocent. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Harty. I'm coming to you from the suburbs of Kansas City. Many thanks to the organizers of this event and to the judges who placed my poem in the Laureate's Choice category. It's actually a ekphrastic poem, meaning it's takes off from a work of art in another medium. And that work of art was a picture, a painting of a packet of letters tied in a ribbon and perched in the branches of a tree. It made me imagine a story, and that's where this poem came from. Cold season. It's true, I saved your letters, every one. I sheltered in them, warmed by promises we made, so sure they'd never come undone. Through all time, we would be accomplices in stealing from the callous world a space for us alone. What loving lines we'd share to bridge the empty miles. And when our days apart were done, our castle in the air would sweetly come to earth. So I believed, and so I kept believing, even while the letters cooled, grew sparse, till I perceived at last I'd lost you. Now the ribboned pile is nothing but a house of empty rooms, a nest abandoned when the winter comes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jason Ronick. I'm originally from South Dakota, but have been a transplant to Norway for the last 20 years. And I'm honored to have one of my sonnet included in the Laureate's Choice Awards this year. Interpersonal. Will no one entertain a just complaint? I cannot quench my thirst at a dry well. I'm told to draw one card. I draw the fool. I'm pushed beyond the edge of self-restraint. The planet spins. I wonder if I'll faint. I dream I'm washing blackboards in a school. The politicians, may they dance in hell. We cannot wash our hands of trouble's taint. The world is too much with us. That is true. I've tried and failed to be more than I am. The experts recommend I wait and see. I searched and found a rival. It was you. The door no longer closes in the jam. The answer knocks. The question may be me. Thank you.
Hello, I am Teresa Werba. I am honored to have been chosen as a laureate's choice for my sonnet. I also wanted to show you a book I have, which is all about all sonnets, 65 of them. And I have a YouTube channel where I do dramatic readings. It's called The Sonnet Queen, all one word. I would like to share with you Autism Sonnet. The lights are much too light and sounds too loud. And thoughts are only thought in black and white. Try to tolerate a middling crowd and talk so small, so pointless, so polite. To hyper-focus is the narrow way that leads to life that few will ever find. Such neurons which diverge will interplay and yearn to speak minutiae of the mind. But when to speak or not to speak, indeed, that is the question of this give and take. And maskings, masqueradings guaranteed to obfuscate the real to say the fake. The spectrum is potentiality within a quirky specificity. Thank you.
Hi, this is David Southward from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I didn't put a dedication on this poem, but it was written for a friend of mine who was recovering from surgery. Merlin to Wounded Arthur. Into the lake's bright black windswept brink, I dipped my pail, scooped up the mirrored moon, around which stars like particles were strewn, and brought it home. Filling my workshop sink, I dropped in heated rose hips, heard them plink against raw sacks of cuttlefish, fresh hewn, and stirred in dragon's blood by tablespoon to thicken the dark shine, now molten zinc too pure to fathom. Brother, do not think you drift alone through pain's inopportune immensity, for there is coming soon a love that heals. Read on, let your eyes drink reviving words, and rise out of your swoon, having absorbed the potion of my ink.
This is Love Song, written by Andrea L. Harkbarth from Palmer, Alaska. It is in the top 4. Once I wrote a love song for the broken men I thought I knew. Men whose mouths I read as soft, as tender as the children whom they'd loved but left behind. What beauty in their tragedies, the way their backs heaved as they wept, drunken with regret. How easy to believe in all their cracks as merely keyholes waiting for the light. Once I loved a man who fell apart, his ragged edges loosed and sharpened in my hands, his lovely weeping turned to salt. And so I've run his pieces through with string and hung them here. Listen, when I drift past, my movement draws their whispering.
Did someone just say these are good? These are good. This next one is one of the winners in our regional category. This is by Jeffrey Glover of Stoughton, Wisconsin, and is entitled Love's Defense. How can I comprehend your loving me, the picture you have painted in your mind, the person you have fancied that you see, except your heart's case prove true love is blind? The court of common sense may find such cause not based on facts or solid evidence. The brief presented may perchance have flaws that rest on nothing more than self-pretense. Still, testimony held to scrutiny, however cross-examined, may yet show that something good and true believed of me, a jury might agree to say is so. And if so, judge and rule my innocence, confirming love of you my best defense.
This is written by Parth Singla from Gurgaon, Haryana, India. It is in the youth category, and it is My Paper Kite. I built a kite with paper, string, and glue. Its wings were painted red and blue and white. I waited for the wind to blow right through, then ran across the field with all my might. It rose above the trees and chased the sky. It danced and dipped and soared and spun around. I laughed so hard, I felt like I could fly, while holding on with feet still on the ground. The wind became my friend that special day. It pulled and pushed, but never let me fall. My kite would wave to clouds and fly away, and I would wave back, proud and 10 feet tall. A simple thing, yet gave me so much cheer. My paper kite still flies inside me here. Sorry, I'm reading another one. It's from the regional category. It's called Fireworks, and it's by B. Haugen from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Such fireworks I've seen lying on my back. Ooh, ah. Starry bouquets against the black that fade to ghost forget-me-nots. The end of every pyrotechnic's torrid blend. Tonight, as rockets rush up, burst, and melt, I catch a flash of passions I once felt, whose magnitude and aim I could not guide. They lit themselves and burned until they died. Those spells that spiked like fever, glowed and broke, then cooled to sovereigns of ash and smoke. I'm glad now for time's tempering effect, the blazing nights becalmed. But don't expect this sky once spun and glittering with sparks to show of splendors past no phantom marks.
Okay, so this is Canis syndrome, and it was a laureate's choice. Ooh. I'm actually from here, Winona, Minnesota. For when my mother swears she'll love me lest I metamorphosize beyond her grasp, I still cling yet to my fat-laden breast and pray to Canis not to turn to asp. Nay, traitor to the female sex am I, shall say whence I have got my wish, and shed false skin transform before her eye, and say not sin, but son have you long bred. And yet she spelt it Caenis only once, or spoken of the tricks wishes can play when cows think to rush at their fates with bunts, from makeshift horns that were not made to stay. Ah, yet she may accept her bestial son, and to her arms I may crawl, slink, or run.
I have to say, Marina also just played Festi in Twelfth Night just last summer with our Shakespeare for Young Actors. So Marina is excelling in 2 different art forms this summer. Yes, brilliantly, lest any of you think you should be sitting on your laurels. The youth are coming. All right, this next one is one of the laureates' choices. This is from Sijun Q from Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. And this is called Spring of Stone. They stood in silent while the empires fell, with moss and time carved softly on their brows. On Easter's isle, where secrets rise and dwell, the stone-faced gods outlast both kings and vows. In Egypt's dust, where sun and shadow bleed, a lion's riddle guards the tomb of pride. The chiseled hymns on temple walls still plead, though priests are ash, their granite hopes abide. Athena's gaze in marble cold remains, while broken columns pierce the attic air. In Roman halls where justice forged her chains, stone lips still bear a law no longer fair. Yet spring returns, and in each weathered face, the soul of vanished ages finds its place. Oh gosh, all right. This is one of the laureates' choices. This is by Philip Goldfarb Steert from Davenport, Iowa, and is entitled Wrong Again. My child says she does not understand when I correct her, and I trust she's right. All the examples that I have to hand are dark, where I would rather show her light. How do you tell someone what you know, and how convince them when you don't believe? I want to give her space in which to grow without demanding she, as I do, grieve. Perhaps it is enough to let her speak her lack of understanding in my ear, that neither of us knows the truth we seek, but both of us can talk and also hear. I know what I would have her do, but why is harder to explain without a lie.
This is Housework by Francesca Howard from New York, New York. It is a laureate's choice. The broom has started more revolutions here than flags or fists or shots fired through the lines. Each scrubbed out floor, each dish, each child's tear contains the cost of dreams and broken spines. They say it's just a job, as if the sweat that slicks the cradle isn't worth a wage. They mock the life she leads without regret. No pity shown for working women's rage. But labor breaks her body to the bone by hands too worn and tired to raise a fist. The world she builds is one she'll never own. Her power is in what they still dismiss. Yet still she works, unfed and undefined, the spine that holds the world they've left behind. This is Mrs. Darcy's Duck by Susan Jarvis Bryant from Port Lavaca, Texas. It is a laureate's choice. She has a lemon yellow rubber duck of neon orange beak and ebon eye. It brings a grinning glimmer of good luck to chicken little days of falling sky. It hints of bubble baths in bygone years when gasps and giggles splashed the twilight air. It stems the stinging trickle in her tears, since death swept in and left an empty chair. It sits upon the table where they dined to give her leaden heart an eider lift. She cherishes this hug of sunshine find, her absent sweetheart's ever-present gift. On darkest nights when dreams give way to dread, a lemon-yellow duck sits on her bed.
Hello, my name is Enriqueta Carrington. I am honored to have my sonnet chosen as one of the top 4. I am from Mexico and now live in New Jersey. This poem, like this contest itself, was created in honor of a poet who has passed away. My sonnet is a homage to Miklos Radnóti, who was one of Hungary's best poets and translators. He was a Jew and murdered in the Holocaust during a forced march which started out from the death camp of Bor. If you were too exhausted to walk on, you were shot. As my epigraph, I have a line by Radnóti himself. Only a fool gets up again when he has collapsed exhausted. When someone casts a pall over its cage, a starling falls silent. Miklos knows this, but still he writes on. In this brutal age, even during the forced march, he persists, writing postcards in a world without post. To what end? He knows it's a march to death. Yet he writes to his wife, perhaps to her ghost, eclogues to the rhythm of rasping breath. 6 seasons later, a mass grave is found, and with a moldering jumble of the dead, a stained notebook is lifted from the ground, where some of the poems can still be read. Then, the waking flutter of heart and wing, the darkness pierced, the bird begins to sing.
Hello, I'm Doug Green, D.E. Green, and I'm from Northfield, Minnesota, though I'm coming to you from Lake Michigan, the southeast corner of Lake Michigan today. I'm a former professor of English retired professor of English at Augsburg University, and a former poet laureate of Northfield, Minnesota. I'm very grateful for this regional award. Goat Song. The title's a translation of the Greek word tragedy. Goat Song. It wasn't exactly a tragedy. Your decline was just an unfortunate condition, a fate you did not bring on yourself. No, no one deserves to suffer as you did. Your muscles atrophied. Your mind could not recall what you'd just done a minute ago. You were like an old LP on an endless loop, skipping back to the verse you had just sung, a forever chorus, spinning until a plate with turkey and gravy, mashed potatoes, and green beans is set before you, jarring an autonomic response. I steady the spoon, touch your hand, Father, gone too soon.
Hi, I'm Monica Cooper. My age is still lost, but I'm very young. I'm way too young to have a kid going to college this weekend. And honored to be a laureate's choice. My sonnet is called Coming Home. The changing light bleaches the colors off. Overexposed, the grass heaves in the wind. I'm running now. My name and age, both lost. This moment cost me all my past to find. The urgency to which my heartbeats yield feels not quite mine, but something preordained. You always knew I'd race this tilted field, ahead of clouds, before the heavens rained. My fingers catch the screen door's rusty grip, the creaking chapel door. I'm coming home. The door and I both gasp. I almost trip into the blessed shadows, the deep gloom. The sky behind me splits with lightning stain. The wooden building echoes to the rain. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carl Kinski. I'm from St. Genevieve, Missouri, and my sonnet was lucky enough to get a Laureate's Choice Award. It's inspired by a song written by Iris DeMent, released in the 1990s, although it's got a little different take on the mystery. On letting the mystery be. A world where gravity bends light and time, where Schrodinger's cats, both alive and dead, where we evolve from a primeval slime, where a DNA sequence may be read in fossilized bones and trace evidence, the double helix sharing what it knows, where past is present and the future tense, since what's revealed is not what we suppose, where quantum physics says E is mc squared, where black holes silence what the Big Bang shouts, where acting calm conceals how much we're scared, where fools are certain and the wise have doubts, where answers add layers to the mystery. How could we possibly just let it be? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jason Summer. I'm talking to you from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm originally from the Bronx, the real show me state. And I want to thank the laureates for picking me. There have been so many generous and rich sonnets. This is sort of a kind of a small-minded sonnet. Anybody would like to be remembered and examined by people after their death, but this sonnet complains about it, and so it's ungenerous, really. The works, the complete works. Here too is everything he wanted excised, thought unworthy, second-rate, misfired. Each image fragment, each thought shirred, juvenilia, where lines first appeared in awful aching settings meant sincerely, to later turn up where they suited merely. Others, now that he's past art and shame, are busy with the business of his fame and other business he'd think none of theirs. He has become his procreative scholars who hereby seek to shed some further light upon the later, greater, who yield insight into development, who, as it were, sit in judgment on his genius to reverse it.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Florian Shaw. I'm 17 years old. I'm coming to you today from the Philly suburbs, and I am honored to be a winner in the youth division and in such lovely company. And I guess it's kind of ironic that I won because this is called Failure Sonnet. Okay, I guess a sonnet's meant to ask a question. Well, what is it? What's the point? I could burn my poems, watch them turn to ash, then climb out on the roof and smoke a joint. Why should I write when there are better writers who choose their words like jewelers setting stones? They win awards, touch hearts. Why am I fighting? The house will win. Why stay and roll the bones? I could surrender, slit my poems' throats and leave them bleeding, watch them decompose. But they would rise again and follow me, claw at me, scream, cry, beg me for mercy. I could refuse them, but they'd haunt me still. If I don't write them down, then who else will? Thank you.
Want to add any other thought to it? It feels like a call of action from the youth. If I don't write them down, then who else will? So with that, I think I can't officially do this, but maybe Heidi can, to say that the 2026 sonnet contest is now open. So sharpen your pencils because
January.
oh, not till January.
Give me a few months.
Okay, all right. You can still start writing, because as Florian has reminded them, if you don't write them down, then who else will? Thank you all so much for joining us this morning. Thank you to Heidi. Thank you to our Poets Laureate for all the work that you put in. Thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you all in 2026.